we go, bitches.
There it is. That is the New York strip. Got our New York strip here. We are going to prepare this New York strip to go into the skillet along with these pre-prepared potatoes that I have had soaking in water, soaking in cold water. Sliced it up, soaked it in cold water. Got some seasoned salt on there so it kind of soaked into the potato. So I'm going to put, after I put the steak in, after this bad boy goes in to the skillet, I will put the potatoes in with it, along with the butter and everything else. So it'll be good and done. The macaroni and cheese is already done. Finished it. Alright, so with that being said, first thing is first, I am out of beer. I finished that beer, so I need new beer is getting got. And is got. Now it is got. You see it right here? Look. Not a sponsor. Damn sure could be though. First thing you want to do with your steak before you cook it. Now, just so you know, I've already got my oil. Got a little bit of oil in my skillet pan, heating up, getting ready to go. Actually, I can smell the oil. If you can smell the oil, then you know it's ready to go. First thing I want to do though, you gotta dry your steak off. Regular paper towel, dry that bad boy off. All sides, you want to get it all the way around. Make sure you don't want to boil it. You don't want to deep fry it. You just want to sear the steak. That's what the plan is. So you dry it all off. You're gonna get a nice looking pink paper towel. Alright, and plus, also while you're doing this, I always like to look at it because I can always kind of feel the meat. It's like it's getting more tender as I'm mashing it with the paper towel. So that might just be a me thing, I don't know, but maybe it's actually tenderizing it a little bit as I get the juices off of it. Now a lot of people don't like to use like seasoned salts and stuff like that, but I'm kind of a fan of it because I eat steaks and pork chops so much that I want them to taste different every now and then. So this time I'm going to use this right here. I'm going to use this maple barbecue rub. I'm just going to season it. I mean, it's got the big salt crystals and everything in it, so you don't have to worry about salting or peppering or anything like that. It's already there. Put it on there, rub it in, flip that bad boy over, do the same thing again, rub it. It's actually called a rub because you want to rub it in. You get it into the muscle fibers of the meat. And then don't forget, you got this little layer of fat on the outside. You want to use what's left in there to pick it up on the edges. Because there's a little trick that I learned actually just today that I'm going to try. The first part of the steak that you want to cook is the fat, is the edges. That way you know the fat is going to be rendered and cooked properly. And it's going to flow nicely. So this steak's been sitting out for about 3 hours. So it is perfectly room temperature. The fat is soft. Everything is good. You don't want to take a steak straight out of the refrigerator and put it on there because you got parts that are going to be too cold. You're going to get an uneven cook. You're going to get all kinds of weird stuff happen with your steak. So at this point, now I've got my steak seasoned. It smells like a pack of barbecue potato chips. That's awesome. Alright, so here we are now. You know your oil is hot enough when it starts smoking. Anyways, look, I've got my nice steak right here. It's all seasoned up, sides, front. The first thing you want to cook on this steak, now remember this, is you've got these areas of fat, right? So you've got the big area of fat here and the area of fat on the side. First thing you want to cook is you're going to set this steak down on its side, not flat. Set it on its side just like so. It might not stay there, but either way, you're going to get your little cook on. Get your cook on with it. I'll find my tongs so that I can stabilize it. That's just to ensure that that fat portion gets rendered like it should. You don't want to leave it too long. See how it already got black? I'm cooking the other part of the fat. There's a big hunk of fat on the end of it. Making sure it gets cooked before I throw the meat on it. Remember that. You got to do that before you throw the meat on it. Alright, now I'm going to lay my steak down. Now that that is done, I'm going to put my potatoes in. Yep, this is where it's going. A lot of smoke. At the same time, I'm cooking my potatoes while I'm cooking the steak. Alright? See that? Potatoes getting cooked, steak getting cooked. This is where you got to be quick because you don't want your steak to stay on one side for too long, right? You want that nice, juicy, red, pink center. Put some butter over here. Put some butter over there. Lick the butter off your finger because you ain't got time for a paper towel. You're gonna move all this around. Let that butter melt. With your potatoes, put a little bit of that same barbecue seasoning that we used on the steak, on the potatoes. And then you're gonna move them all about. Move them all about. Do the hokey pokey and you move the taters about. Like I said, these potatoes, they're not freshly cut. I cut them about an hour ago. Or almost 2 hours ago actually. They've been sitting in this saucer right here of hot water. And so they have already softened. They have already soaked up some of the moisture and all that good stuff. Now after the steak is done, the steak will be done before the potatoes. So keep that in mind too. Alright. You gotta have a spoon for this thing right here. This nifty little section here where you tilt it, you let some of the juices flow over, you scoop the juices up onto the steak. This is called basting. There's butter and oil and meat juice in that basting process. Now remember, this is a New York strip. It's a little bit thicker than what I'm used to, so I'm just hoping that I don't undercook. Well, you can't undercook a steak. I'm hoping I don't overcook the steak. So I'm not wanting to flip it prematurely, but what I am going to do is make sure that I keep stirring these potatoes to make sure that they get properly cooked. My stove is on right here. It's not quite on high. It was on high to heat up. Now I don't want it on super high, or I'll end up with what happened with my fat on this side. It gets burnt. Oh, yeah, that stays a little bit blackened on that side. That's fine because it's all juices. That blackened part there is flavor. as I keep moving all this stuff around, moving my taters around, I'm gonna put a little bit more butter in there. Here I am talking, so I'm not timing. That's the problem here. I'm talking instead of timing. Nah, I'm gonna love that seasoning though. That's the whole point. That rub even advertises itself as being a blackened steak seasoning rub. These potatoes, I'm gonna move my steak over to the side now. Oh yeah, the steak's almost done. Because you gotta think too, don't forget, and I've made this mistake many a time, you have to let a steak rest for 10 minutes before you can cook it. Cut it. That steak will still continue to cook for that 10 minutes. So this steak, right here is done. This is a nice barbecue seared steak. I know it looks kind of black. Trust me, it's not going to affect the flavor. You can see it's still squishy. That blackness is the seasoning that I put on it. It actually darkened it up. Now I'll continue to cook my potatoes in the meat grease, in potato grease, oil that was in here. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that barbecue seasoning stuff to the potatoes. Actually, a lot more, I guess. It looked like a lot more, didn't it? I'm gonna lick the butter off of this spoon because I love butter. That's actually my macaroni and cheese spoon, so cover my butter up. Potatoes still got a little bit to cook. They take a little bit longer to beat, apparently. I might have to do one of these videos for my 6-minute pork chop. 3 on one side, 3 on the other. Yeah. But you cook the pork chop in the barbecue sauce. A little bit of oil and some barbecue sauce and some butter, and you get like the best freaking like pork chop stuff. Like these potatoes are, yeah, they're approaching to be extremely done. The only thing I don't like about this is cleaning the pan. This is such a messy cook process, but I'm going to be done with this. And then next part of the video you'll see will be the finished product. Alright, first thing I want to say is how amazing it fucking smells in here. It smells so great in this freaking house right now. Potatoes look a little black, but I promise you they're good. A lot of that was the blackened seasoning that we put on it. So, same thing with steak. Look a little black, but I can tell right now that I've already dumped the juice out of this plate multiple times and it is still there. So you're about to get to see the plating process where it gets cut to serve. I know Pepper, you smell it too. Get on now, get out of the way. You get some wherever I get some. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm probably gonna chop this piece of fat up by itself, just so that I can make sure it gets evenly mixed in. Oh yeah, look at that. So I'm gonna just slice the fat off here, and I'll make sure that it gets evenly distributed throughout the rest of the cut. You know what I mean? That way you don't end up with like a fork full of just fat. Actually, this piece right here, this is Pepper's piece. Oh yeah, here you go, girl. She loves steak fat. That's all you. That's all you right there. I normally do that for 2 reasons. sheets what I eat, and at the same time she'll leave me alone while I'm doing the rest of this. Alright, so let's turn this around so you get a little bit better view on the cut of this. And so it looks black here. We got a nice sear on the outside. Look at that. Look at that pink inside. That is perfect. Nice pink. So I'm going to slice this down. It's part of my plating process. I like to have my steak sliced up before I go to eat it. I'll make it look all pretty after I get it cut down. Oh yeah, that is the perfect pinkness. Yeah, had you worried, didn't I, once you saw the outside of that thing and the black on it. But that blackness, like I said, that was from the seasoning. It's a blackening rub, so it's supposed to make that happen. Basically, that rub creates a barbecue flavored crust on the outside of my steak. Same thing with the potatoes, because I sprinkled a bunch on the potatoes, remember? So yeah, there we go. Alright, so now we got it sliced up. Let's make it look pretty. Normally, if I wasn't videoing, I wouldn't care how pretty it looked. But we can pretty it up, just for the sake of YouTube, Facebook, whatever. Now, I am no professional cook, so when it comes to plating food, I have zero science behind it. I'm just basically lining it up to where most of it's on one side, and then I'll put some potatoes here and some macaroni and cheese here. Let's get some potatoes here. Don't need that many potatoes because I got macaroni and cheese to put with it. They look black. Look, I'll eat it right now. There's no. It's all barbecue flavor. It's not burnt. I promise. It's not burnt. And then world famous macaroni and cheese. And I suggest that anybody who likes macaroni and cheese, like I do, they need to get, it's a seasoned salt. It's made for popcorn. We've got a bacon cheddar seasoned salt and a white cheddar seasoned salt. And this stuff, you do not need regular salt on your mac and cheese if you use this stuff. I'll put some potatoes too. It's gonna make it so good. So good. And here's the bacon cheddar right there. That just adds all the flavor to your mac and cheese. So now, since I put all that junk on it, it don't look as professional plating as it, probably could. But it is fantastic. I promise. Look at that meat. It's got the perfect pinkness to it. You got the mac and cheese, taters. The only thing I need now, which this will probably make a lot of people pissed off at me, but I love some A1 steak sauce. Absolutely love it. They think I'm crazy. Think I'm ruining a steak by putting A1 steak sauce on it, but I love the stuff. And the little trick is you don't have to buy like the $5 A1. You can get the Ingles steak sauce original, and it's exactly the same thing. I matched up the ingredients. I me. I got about half a beer to finish. Drizzle some steak sauce on that and the potatoes. I love the flavor of steak sauce with the potatoes. Now, for the mac and cheese, I suggest everybody do this if you've never done it before. If you've never done it before, you've got to try barbecue sauce on your mac and cheese. If you've never done it before, it will blow your mind. Just drizzle it back and forth just like so. Just a little bit, enough to add some flavor. It will blow your mind. Alright, and there we go. That is our New York strip, seasoned potatoes, and barbecue mac and cheese. Thank you guys.